LibreQuest. My name is Matt. It is the 24th of October, 2019. First in the news today from Southpedia News from Marius Nestor. It's written by Marius Nestor, posted October 23rd, 2019. System 76, an American hardware manufacturer known for producing and selling Linux computers, released a new version of its in-house built Ubuntu-based operating system, Pop! OS Linux. And it's based on Ubuntu 1910. It is, of course, Pop! OS 1910. That is good news. Good job over there at System 76. Fantastic. I actually have a Pop! OS machine. I do believe it is the HP system I've been working on over there that is running Pop! OS. All right, and this is from the Mozilla blog. This was posted today, October 24th. Longtime Mozilla board member Bob Lisbon moves from foundation to corporate board. Outgoing CEO Chris Beard, corporate board term ends. So, just interesting news coming out of Mozilla over there. I'm not sure why I said that is interesting news that way. Okay, so for some historical news today, this is from Linux Compatible, linuxcompatible.org. This was posted in 2009. Today, October 24th, 2009, Bon Bono DVD is ready for general use. It says Bon Bono DVD is a DVD authoring program for Linux. This software allows you to get video on those optical discs without knowing many technical details. The version 0.5.2 is the last stable one from the first program publication and ready for use by general public. Well, that is cool, and I actually still use Bon Bono. I use it on the Dell Optiplex 755 that I have. That is doing some triangles right now. It's running a screensaver with some triangles on it. Pretty exciting stuff. Okay, so I didn't really have much planned for today. I wasn't sure when I was going to do a podcast about modifying a computer case that I have. And it's a computer case that I picked up when I had family coming in from out of town, my two nephews and my brother. And I picked up this case because I needed a case because we were going to do some LAN gaming. And I had to have another case. Otherwise, I mean, I didn't have to have another case. I guess we could have just set some components out on the table or something. But, you know, for safety's sake, I had to have a case. And I didn't really have time to order one from the internet and wait for it. And so I got over on fries.com. This has been, it's been over a year ago. It might have been 2 years ago. I don't honestly remember exactly how long ago it was. But they had a case that had been on display. And they were selling it for $20. And I thought, yeah, that's fine. $20, I'll go pick it up. So I get there and they don't have the side panel for it. I tell them that's fine. I'm probably not going to use that anyway. As I typically leave the side panel off of the computer. It's easier to clean, easier to get to work on, and that sort of thing. At least that's the way I think about things. And of course I use fan filters and those are easy to wipe off and all that stuff. So I just leave the side panel off of the cases anyway, so that was fine. But it's like an old style, something you would have expected to find in like 2010 or so. There's no cable management in the system, in the case. There's nowhere to mount a 120 millimeter fan in the case, but I needed to install an AIO. That's an all-in-one liquid cooler. And I'm not going to do a podcast about how to install an AIO liquid cooler. I'll just say this. It's as simple as if you've ever installed an air cooler, or if you've ever installed a 120 millimeter fan in a case, it's literally just that easy. That's all you're doing is you're mounting the pump on the CPU, and you're mounting a radiator in your case. So it's actually a pretty straightforward process, mounting an AIO. But in this particular case, there was no place set for it wasn't intended to be used with an AIO. So one important thing to consider when you are installing an AIO is that there can be water bubbles in the line. So you'll want to have your radiator above your pump. So in this specific case, I mounted the radiator to the top. Now I've got the system actually recording the podcast on right now. I've got an AIO for the CPU, and then the GPU is also liquid cooled. And that's how that's the configuration I use. That's the safe configuration. You don't want those bubbles getting caught in your pump, because you're not going to have very efficient cooling that way. Not going to be able to carry the heat away as efficiently, but also you're going to have some squealing going on, and that is very, very irritating to hear. Now, you might hear in the recording there is some fan noise. I'm in a room full of computers, so if you hear some fan noise, yes, that's I am in a room full of running computers, and there's some fan noise going on. So I apologize if that if you're hearing that and wondering what in the world that is. That's what that is. There's a lot of fans going right now. But one thing you probably don't hear is some squealing going on from any of the AIOs. Because the radiators are mounted properly in there. But anyway, so this case that I had, and oh, you know what? Let me take a break real quick. I just want to throw out a reminder. I have the I do the raffle. It is $1 to join over on Subscribestar. The raffle item for, I don't know, the next week and a half is the Tomb Raider Chronicles that was released in 2000 by Eidos. It is a, the default controls are keyboard, so it's kind of frustrating to actually play. But that if you're interested in having that, you can join over Subscribestar for $1 a month. Anyhow, moving back to what I'm talking about now. That was my my raffle advertisement. I want to, I don't know, that's exciting to me. I think that's cool to share. So anyhow, this case a little bit frustrating to not be able to just mount an AIO in it. So basically, the way that I handled this situation, it took about 15 minutes just to get it mounted in there. Of course, I had to do a little bit of cutting, so there's some prerequisites here, which is a Dremel tool with a metal cutting wheel and a fan filter. Now, I used a fan filter with screw holes that's mounted to the fan with screws. There's also magnetic, which are a lot easier to remove and clean. But in this case, I use the one that screws on because it's really just a replacement to cover the giant hole I made in the case. So first I made a template. I used a purple crayon because purple crayons are all over this house and because I have little kids, and a white piece of paper. And I just placed that on top of the radiator and basically just took the crayon and basically made a template. Most importantly, I got those screw holes and then I taped that onto the top of the case where I wanted to mount the radiator. The next step is I drilled out where the screw holes needed to be in the top of the case, because those were going to be my reference points for where I was actually going to remove the steel from the top of the case for the airflow. So after, it took probably about 10 minutes of using that metal cutting wheel, but eventually that center piece there just fell right out. So I had a nice square had been removed from the top of the case, and then at the corners of every corner of the square was the mounting holes that I was going to use to mount the radiator. And that was pretty much it. It's pretty simple. I was able to mount that radiator in there. I still had room for the power supply, which was mounted on the top. I know most cases that you get these days, the power supply is going to be mounted on the bottom and out of the way. Now this case, it's like an old style case, so I had to make sure that there was room for the power supply and for the radiator, but everything fit together quite nicely. And even without any cable management built into this case, I was still able to get that installed in there, and with ease. It wasn't too bad of an experience, really. And then, like I said, it only took about 15 minutes, and I just thought I'd share that on the podcast today. That it's actually pretty easy to deal with installing an AIO in an old style case. I think that's pretty much going to do it for today. But thank you for listening. I'll try to be back here tomorrow and talk about some more things that I find interesting. And I had something planned. I'm trying to remember what it is so I can tell you about it before I end the show. No, I can't think of what it is. But I did notice, I wanted to mention this. I did notice that today in 2008, Boycott Novell was trending. And if you remember what that was about, Boycott Novell was trending. So 2008, very interesting stuff there. But anyway, I think that's going to do it. I'm trying to remember, what in the world was I going to talk about tomorrow? I don't know, but I'll try to be back here tomorrow, and hopefully I can be. And hopefully this podcast is helpful to somebody if you've got a case like that, kind of frustrating, you got an AIO, you want to put that in there, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Make a template, do your cuts, and you should be good to go. And oh, I think I forgot to mention, after I got the radiator mounted in there, I did cover the hole with the fan filter, and that just makes, you know, you're probably not going to see it or anything, but if I do catch a glimpse of it, at least it's not going to be a big hole in the top of the case. You know, it won't be ugly. So that's kind of important. But anyway, I think that'll do it for today, and I will try to be back here tomorrow to do another show. And thank you again for listening, as always, and I will see you then.